It is the agenda for the 21st century you're living in today. For a brave new world where everything that you cherished and held true will no longer exist.
There are places in this country that are on the verge of disappearing. Places where the wind or the ice, the heat, the water, or the dust have become too much to bear.
We just adapted to those changes.
Pretty much decimal.
We don't have $180 million.
Your next exit, Vanishing America.
We went up and again in a Black Hawk helicopter today, thanks to the North Dakota National Guard.
The levee that we're sitting on right now was built to protect us from the last flood in this area, which was actually in 1969.
Yeah, the river's down there.
Yeah.
There's no possible way it could come up here.
Yeah, it's a long ways down there.
Or so you thought.
Yeah, or so we thought.
Major sections of Minot, North Dakota have vanished due to an ongoing flooding situation as melted snow pours down this river system into the city and back up into Canada.
In 2011, it was something like I've never seen.
Floodwater wiped out a quarter of our city.
Sean Sipma lost everything when that Canadian water turned his hometown into a slow-moving disaster.
They took a historic record rainfall throughout most of the basin in Canada, 7 inches across the basin in Canada, and it was game over.
This tiny little strip of barbed wire is the international border between Canada and the United States. The water that flows through here knows no international treaty. Mother Nature does what she wants as she melts the snow up in Canada and pushes that water down into the United States. Parts of Minot are already vanishing, boarded up by the changing oil industry and this new flood risk. A change in the weather forming a new future they did not expect.
We have to acclimate ourselves to the new normal. And the new normal, it's not the same. It's not the same, and I don't think it'll ever be the same.
This is the Salton Sea today, a disappearing, toxic land filled with kids and their parents struggling to breathe. The lake that once was is now evaporating away, leaving this cesspool behind. Saltier than the ocean.
Almost twice as salty as the ocean and getting saltier every day.
It's also hard to translate how nasty this is. The stench can bubble up from the Salton Sea and at times reach Los Angeles, 3 hours that way, or even San Diego, another 3 hours that way. But this is not a story about stinky air reaching Los Angeles. This is the story of the people who live in this mess. The more water that's diverted from the Salton Sea, the more it starts to look like this. You may think this looks like some kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland, but remember, for a lot of people, this is home.
This year is on track to be the hottest ever since records were first being kept in the 1880s. That's according to the United Nations Weather Agency, the World Meteorological Organization.
2015 was the hottest year on record. Before that, 2014 was the hottest year on record. And we think that 2016 will break even those records.
The organization reports growing evidence of a link between extreme weather and climate change triggered by humans. For example, the Arctic is warming at twice the rate of the global average. Because of warming oceans, there have been widespread heat waves, cyclones, floods, and the bleaching of coral reefs.
A real-life fountain of youth could soon be at hand. Scientists at the Salk Institute in California have announced they are one step closer to turning back the clock on the natural process of aging. Yes. While human testing remains hypothetical, experiments on lab mice have shown remarkable results.
Think less Back to the Future and more Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Researchers treating lab mice with a disease called progeria, which causes premature aging, were able to show a measurable change within the aging cells of these animals. In other words, they partially reversed the aging process. Here's how they did it. They were able to use a method that reprograms pluripotent stem cells. They're a type of cell that's able to indefinitely copy itself and also capable of transforming into any type of cell within an organism. In this case, it was skin cells. Okay, so I know what you're probably thinking. Pretty soon we'll be saying goodbye to those gray hairs, the wrinkles, and any other side effects of old age. Actually, the science isn't quite there yet. The research is still in its early stages. But it does have the potential to improve and prolong human life in the future. In a press release, the Salk Institute added that quote, "Our study shows that aging may not have to proceed in one single direction. It has plasticity, and with careful modulation, aging might be reversed. Consider, for instance, that one of the most consistent risk factors for conditions like heart disease, cancer, and degenerative brain disease is the simple fact that our bodies age. Not only could these findings lead to the treatment of early aging diseases, but to the treatment of countless ailments associated with old age. The Salk Institute is aptly named after Dr. Jonas Salk, who developed the first vaccine for polio in 1955, which he generously gave to the world, never seeking a patent. Salk researchers added in their final report that clinical trials of rejuvenation treatment on human patients could arrive as soon as 10 years from now.
It has become the epicenter of our nation's opioid addiction crisis. In a two-part investigation, Eric Iyer of the Charleston Gazette-Mail reports West Virginia currently faces the highest rate of deaths from drug overdoses in the country. According to the report, out-of-state drug companies are making the problem worse, targeting poor and rural counties in the southern part of the state. It says in 6 years, drug wholesalers showered the state with 780 million hydrocodone and oxycodone pills, while 1,728 West Virginians fatally overdosed on those two painkillers. And according to the Charleston Gazette, state regulators may also be part of the problem, failing to monitor these suspicious orders.
Drug Enforcement Administration labs such as this one are finding new mystery drugs every other week. Increasingly, they are variations of the potent painkiller fentanyl, a prescription drug 50 times more powerful than heroin.
While Americans remain divided over the so-called war on Christmas, a religious display in South Florida is adding to the ongoing controversy and outcry. City officials in Boca Raton have allowed a satanic pentagram to be displayed in a local park right beside a nativity scene, a menorah, and a Christmas tree. The religious displays, an annual tradition for the city, coincided with Boca's holiday parade. But this is the first time Satanism has been represented. Preston Smith, the man behind the display, said he is not a Satanist, but is displaying the pentagram, according to reports, as an argument to end all religious displays. In a statement, Smith said in part, "Love trumps hate. The First Amendment must be protected, including the freedom to offend." A group of local interfaith clergy members opposing the pentagrams issued a statement saying the display is an offensive way to promote First Amendment rights. Now, in a show of inclusiveness, Boca Raton officials have allowed the pentagram to remain on display in what they call a free speech zone. Now, shortly after being unveiled earlier this month, the 20-foot display featuring a carved-out picture of Satan was vandalized with spray paint. The Freedom from Religion Foundation, which supports the satanic display, has offered a $2,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of whoever is responsible. Meanwhile, defending freedom of religion and speech means the holiday season continues to be something of a contentious issue throughout the United States.
As brazen attacks unfold across the globe, the president-elect started off his day showing that he has no plans to move beyond his combative campaign mode. Vacationing in Florida, Trump fired off back-to-back tweets aimed at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton stated that I called him after the election. Wrong, he called me, with a very nice congratulations. He doesn't know much, especially how to get people, even with an unlimited budget, out to vote in the vital swing states, and more. They focused on the wrong states. The soon-to-be 45th president was reacting to what the 42nd president recently told a weekly newspaper in New York, with Clinton saying Trump doesn't know much. The extraordinary back and forth continued as Clinton replied today with a tweet of his own. Here's one thing Donald Trump and I can agree on. I called him after the election. Responding to the attacks in Germany, Trump went further than any U.S. or European official, saying in a statement, Islamist terrorists continually slaughter Christians in their communities and places of worship as part of their global jihad. At his Mar-a-Lago resort here in Palm Beach, Trump receiving briefings, yet it was unclear whether it was directly from the intelligence officials or secondhand through his transition team.
Hey fellow white guys. Hey MTV. It's about to be a new year. And there's a few things we think you could do a little bit better in 2017.
Here's what I think you can do better in 2017. How about you stop collectively demonizing an entire group of people based on their skin color. How about you stop trying to be the reverse KKK for hipsters? Racism is so not cool. I'm talking to you, Francesca.
First off, try to recognize that America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
Really? That'll be why multimillionaire black men and women completely dominate sports, music, entertainment, and culture then.
I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man.
America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
Right, because it's not like you've had a black president for the last 8 years, is it?
What does that mean?
Can we all just agree that Black Lives Matter isn't the opposite of All Lives Matter? Black lives just matter. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
Can we all just agree that saying all lives matter isn't racist? Let's not overcomplicate it. Plus, the opposite of Black Lives Matter is Black Lives Don't Matter. And no one is saying that. So what the hell are you talking about? Oh yeah, and Black Lives Matter isn't just a phrase, it's a movement. A movement whose ideological guru is a cop-killing terrorist. A movement whose violent, hateful rhetoric has led to black cops being killed.
Also, Blue Lives Matter isn't a thing.
Actually, it is a thing. It's the crazy notion that the lives of police officers matter. Blue Lives Matter is a thing because cops, many of them black, kept getting attacked and murdered. Because of Black Lives Matter's violent rhetoric.
We have dead cops because of that hands up, don't shoot lie.
Stop bragging about being woke. Stop saying woke.
Woke.
Learn what mansplaining is, and then stop doing it.
Yeah, learn what being a retard is, and then stop doing it.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Mansplaining.
Mansplaining. A sexist slur created by social justice warriors to invalidate someone's opinion based on their gender. Okay, so overt racism isn't enough. After all, this wouldn't be an MTV News video without a healthy dose of misandry to top it off.
Mansplaining.
We all love Beyonce. And yeah, she's black, so of course she cares about black issues.
Yeah, Beyonce cares so much about black issues that she dyes her hair blonde and bleaches her skin to try and look as white as possible. Oh yeah, and a minute ago you were saying America wasn't great for non-white people. Now you're saying how great Beyonce has it.
Feel free to take Kanye West, though. You guys can have him.
Deal.
Nobody who has black friends says that they have black friends.
And just because you have black friends doesn't mean you're not racist.
That's racist!
Okay, so do you have black friends? Yes. You just said you have black friends. You must be racist. Oh, you don't have black friends. Well, why not? You must be racist.
That's racist!
Guys, we know nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but that's no excuse to avoid the treadmill, chubby.
But honestly, you could do a little better in 2017.
Honestly, MTV News, maybe you should take your own advice and do a little better by not making dumbass racist videos that demonize an entire group of people based on their skin color.
Some of you guys do a great job. Some of you don't.
Yeah, unfortunately, you guys didn't do a great job at not being racist, given that you deleted this video on YouTube after it received an over 100-to-1 thumbs down ratio, then uploaded it again, claiming a graphics issue, then deleted it again.
2017 can't be worse than this, alright? Because this is bad.
I agree. That video was bad. In fact, it was fucking terrible, and I can see why you deleted it. Now do us all a favor, MTV News, and delete your channel.
Life.
Explosion at one of Mexico's best-known fireworks markets has killed at least 10 people and sent dozens to the hospital.
We're continuing to follow breaking news here on CBSN out of Mexico. You're looking at a horrific explosion at a fireworks market that happened on the outskirts of Mexico City. This explosion has killed at least 12 people that we know of so far and injured many more.
South Sudan is on the brink of genocide, and the U.S. might be able to stop it. One estimate says some 50,000 people have died in just the past 2 years, but the world has largely stopped watching. Civilians are suffering the most. Nearly 3 million people have been displaced. The U.S. is intertwined in the conflict there and is South Sudan's largest source of funds. The U.S. helped South Sudan gain independence, but as political turmoil has increased in the country, the U.S. has threatened to stop offering aid.
Fears of another terror attack growing by the minute as the man behind the truck massacre in Berlin remains on the run.
ISIS now praising their, quote, soldier for the horrific attack.
On Tuesday, the Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the attack, describing the driver seen fleeing from the scene as a, quote, soldier of the Islamic State, who carried out the attack in response to calls for targeting citizens of the Crusader Coalition. The claim of responsibility came not long after German prosecutors said they had released a man picked up near the scene of the attack, initially suspected of driving the truck. Germany is not involved in any combat against the Islamic State, but it does have jets and a refueling plane stationed in Turkey to support the coalition. The attacker's first victim, the owner of a truck that was used in the attack, Ariel Zurowski. He was found stabbed and shot to death in the cabin of the truck after the attack.
Comparisons have been drawn between the incident in Berlin and the massacre which happened in the French city of Nice this summer. The attackers both used trucks to deliberately plow through crowds, and both took place in busy areas full of tourists and foreigners. Now many are questioning the continued failings of security in Europe.
ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack on a Christmas market in Berlin that left at least 12 people dead and dozens more injured. But many questions remain over who carried out the attack. The man arrested on the suspicion of driving the truck through the crowd has been released from police custody. Authorities said they did not have sufficient evidence. And now this latest attack in Europe is prompting fear of possible attacks here at home this holiday season.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
In a time of domestic crisis, men of goodwill and generosity should be able to unite regardless of party or politics.